And so this is why they bring, this is why every ethnic group can come into our communities and set up shop and walk away, filthy rich, literally. And so I want to keep us on this path of going, how do we get out of that mindset and go into, setting ourselves up for the near future, so that way we don't, when this is over, when COVID-19 is over, I promise you, I don't want to see people going back to jobs. I want to see, when COVID-19 is over, I want to see some successful people. And what I mean by successful is, I want to say, when I see you, I want you to be able to tell me, oh, during COVID-19, I took some online courses. During COVID-19, I did some training. During COVID-19, I developed some skills to get myself so I don't have to. So I ain't worried about going back to work, because that told me that as easily they could take my job away, that's as easily as I could be out here homeless on the street, begging for money, a bump, whatever, right? And no disrespect to homeless people that are less fortunate. I want to ask you, what are some tips that you can offer black people in this time, so that way we don't come out of COVID-19 on the bottom side of this once again, because we came into it on the bottom side. How do we come out of it on the top side? So what are some tips that you can offer that people can start to say, hey, let me write these down?
Well, let me start, because you said something in your monologue that triggered a thought when we come out of this. What you said took me back to when we were in the downturn of 2008. That's when President Barack Obama came in and he bailed out the car industry, etc., right? When everybody was pulling back on spending power, it was said that America was standing strong on the black dollar. Only, meaning that during that course of us going through that downturn, depression, whatever you want to call it, recession, yeah. It was stated that we as black folks had spent $7 billion. What did we spend that on? We spent it on materialistic things such as cars, renting movies, buying TVs, toys, materialistic pleasures.
Things of no value.
No value. You see what I'm saying? Depreciation. Now,
payment value.
If you go back to 2008 to where we are now, 12 years later, I believe it is, okay? Most of that money that was spent, can we speak for it? My grandmother, my great-grandmother, Mary Rogers, told me, you know what she told me? And it took a long time for it to hit home. She said, if you're going to spend your money in areas that you can see it. Home, business, setting up your business. You see what I'm saying? Pouring into your children. Bank accounts that will, when your time expires, that you have left your offsprings in a position that they can move forward. When you look at the white dollar, I know you heard what they call grandfathered in.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah. A lot of white people are grandfathered in. The millennials, the white millennials are grandfathered in. All right? To success. Yes. You see what I'm saying? So it's almost going back to not Crooklyn, but Do the Right Thing, when the brothers walk into the store and they say, why you don't have no black people up in here? They don't have to have any black people in there. What you have to do is be able to start your own business, so that when we come out of COVID-19, you're standing firm, but not just standing firm because you started your own business. That business you desire to start needs people like you, me, and many others of us as consumers to help that business stay afloat. You know what I mean? So
yes, I do.
It's on us that we adhere to that when we come out of this downturn or this COVID-19, that we are not in the soup line with our hands out saying, please, mister, please, ma'am, will you feed us? You see what I'm saying?
My children.
Yeah. So, you know, just look at where we are right now. And some may not agree with me, but we are at an advantage right now. What do I mean? With gas prices at $1.65, that means that hardly nobody.
We saw.
Yeah, that at Sam's is $1.62. I got my gas yesterday. All right?
62.
Yeah, and it's going down even further. But what I'm saying is, listen to what I'm saying. All right?
I'm listening.
Gas is at a low right now. What are we doing with that money that we could be, that capital, that currency that we usually spend putting it in our tank? All right? What are we doing with the capital that we're usually out here buying, you know, Walmart or wherever we go at? Well, apparently that means that that currency is stacking up somewhere. Use that stash, all right? Like the rappers say, you know, it's those racks. Use those racks. Use that stack, all right? To use it to your benefit, to allow you to start investing in you, to invest in your children. Because, bruh, don't get it twisted, because when we come up out of this, there's going to be more whites, more Italians, more Iranians, more Arabs, more Jewish, more everybody else except us as blacks that's going to benefit from where we are to where we're about to go.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And
that's a stark reality.
Yeah, if you ever played pool, when the game is about to end, you got the white ball and you got the 8 ball. You feel me? The 8 ball is what color? Black. In order for you to win that game, that white ball got to knock that black ball off the table.
Yeah, got to take the black ball out.
You got to take the black ball out. You feel me? And if anybody who's looking at this decide in their mind, Mr. Dowridge, DLD, is a racist, you got it twisted. I am reality. I am reality is that, you know, we have to forge forward and prepare for what's about to come. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
If I can go on a religious tip real quick, all right?
Take us down that path.
Moses was chosen, all right? Moses had a stuttering problem, all right? But yet and still, God believed in Moses enough that he chose Moses to go out and do a mission. When it was all said and done, let my people go. All right, Pharaoh, let my people go. Where was Moses at? Moses standing right there at the Red Sea. What did Moses do with that stick that was turned from a snake to a stick? He hit that bad boy in the ground. The sea began to do what? Part
ways. Yeah.
All right. So here we are. All right. We're about ready to come out of this thing in 2 or 3 weeks. All right? Yeah. That's the parting of the sea. Right now, we all should be joining forces and preparing, or we should have done it already, because Noah was already out there building the ark. We should have got on that ark so that we can what? Glide through this COVID-19, because everybody else is gliding through this. You feel me?
Yeah.
We shouldn't be using COVID-19 busting rocks, burning ourselves out, worrying ourselves out, wondering why, sitting with attitudes as we're in this mist, and then come out on the other side to find out, guess what? We're standing in the mist and we're getting ready to get hit by the white ball because we did not prepare to go in this dive to come out. That's why I say the roller coaster of life. We're right here. We're in the bottom right now. We are the road on the roller coaster. All right? So that roller coaster going up, you know what it's called? Anticipation. Yeah. When it hit the top, whee! But then when it go down, guess what we saying? Man, I can't wait to go back up again. So that's where we are, right? I can't wait to go back up. But if you are prepared when we come down to this point, guess what? It don't matter if we go up or if we go down, because you're riding on an even keel, because you got attitude, because you are what? Prepared.
Prepared. Let me, wow, that's a lot, and I like it.
I hope I'm making a point, and I hope that what I'm speaking is valid, and I hope you know that your listeners, you know, are attuned to what I'm saying. I don't want to speak over. I want to speak at.
Yeah, you're speaking at them right now, and what I want to ask you is, what's the biggest difference between your generation and my generation and the generation behind me, a younger generation? And I would even say, yeah, just what's the difference that you see as far as mentality goes? Mentality goes. What's the difference that you see from your generation in time coming up to our generation in time coming up, or even the millennials generation?
You know, my nephew, matter of fact, when I was on tour with this book back in 2013, I had my nephew who is, he's a lyricist. He's a poet up in Michigan. He got Detroit on lock, right? Dismantle, all right, that's his name. All right, very proud of him. I took him on tour with me, him and my younger nephew, which is his nephew, his sister's son, Q. At the time when he was 10, I can't believe dude is 19 now. But anyway, we went on tour and we was at my cousin's house in South Carolina, and cousin and I was talking. So big nephew, he said, Uncle Don, can I say something? I said, yeah, nephew, go ahead, you know. And he said, Uncle, y'all, you two brothers, you know, y'all old enough to be my dad, and I respect y'all to the utmost, but I got to say this, and if you get mad, I'm sorry. Oh, I'll walk home if I have to. The brother said, oh, it's your generation fault that we are where we are. My cousin said, man, what you talking about, young fella? And then as I thought about it, I said, you know what? He's right. What do I mean that he's right? Because, see, when my generation, and when I say my generation, the baby boomers, all right, when we were going through what was called the hell, you know, getting beatings and etc., you know, the furnace, you know, the whole thing is, yeah, spare the rod, spare the child, all right? So our rod was not spared. You feel me? We were kept in line. Chris Rock came out a few years ago and he said, all the beatings that I've gotten never land me in jail. All the beatings I got never caused me to go out and be a drug dealer. All the beatings I've got never caused me to go out and kill somebody. You see what I'm saying? So it goes back to when you spare the rod. Now, when my generation was coming up, because I'm guilty too. You know what I said? Man, when I become a dad, a parent, I ain't going to be dogging my children out like that. But it's not a matter of dogging your children out. There's a difference between abusing your children. If you want abuse, I'll tell you about some abuse because I've been there. I've been through it. I'm not talking about abusing your child. I'm talking about being firm with your child. You see what I'm saying? So the system is set up, you know what I mean, that when you go back to the 80s, all right, look, lady, if you want these food stamps, you got to get rid of that man. You see what I'm saying? So in the 80s, they started moving the black man, if you will, out of the home. So it left the woman, the mother, with the children. All right? So things started getting a little soft. All right? People ain't going to like this. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, there's women out there right now that don't play the radio with their children, and I give them much respect. But when they started moving the black man out of the home, you see what I'm saying? And much love to Dr. King when he said, you know, look, we want to be treated as equal. All right? So when they started making all these transformations, all right, in those transformations, the generations behind us were the generation that was growing up to suffer the consequences. Because look, the rules and regulations that they set up in this country right now, you see what I'm saying? It is set up more so not for the white to fail, but for the blacks to fail. Because see, we as African Americans, all right, one thing I know for a fact, all right, if you come up to me as a child and you say, Don, will you please go over there and sit down? My response is, you know what? I don't know who you're talking to, but you better get the F out my face. But if I come back and I say, you know what, young man, get your behind up and move over there. Young lady, get up and move over there. That's the language we understand. But when you shift the gears, that is like, look, baby. Well, baby just going to turn around, you see what I'm saying, and going to give you a look to make you scared, and that's where we are now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I understand that we as a black people have a tendency, it's just like they were saying, I don't know why that child in my classroom is so loud. Well, that child is not disrespecting, but you got to look at the home life. You see what I'm saying? How loud it is at home.
What the child brings into the classroom didn't start in the classroom.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? What the
child is bringing into the classroom is coming from a foundation, a base.
Yeah.
And that's the home base.
Yeah, and to that's the common sense. So that millennial, all right, that is raising a child now, guess what? That new baby that's coming in this world now, matter of fact, the one that was just born a second ago, all right?
Right.
That baby is going to come in with more privileges because the rod has been spared. But now it's just a matter with the new privileges that baby will get coming in this world now. When that baby get to be 21, 25, 30, where will that baby go? Because everybody has said, you know what? Hands off, let the baby raise themselves. How you going to let a baby raise themselves if you don't train the baby to be raised?
Raise a child in the way it should go, and when he gets older, he will not depart.
He will not depart from it. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
But now we have a situation where a lot of our babies, all right, are being raised that, guess what? They were never raised in the right way, so they're
departing from sound wisdom.
They're departing from it.
From truth. They're departing from a way of righteousness.
Yeah.
You understand? So when you don't raise a child, in a home, and I mean that word when I say a home, either a mother and a father, or a mother and that young child may have some male role models in his life, some male leaders, but that child has to have that balance of the two. And so when you are raising a child and that child doesn't have those boundaries of man and woman in place, then that child is going to go astray.
Yeah, and believe me, brother, believe me, I've had, I've been in this business for 28 years, dealing with young people. You see what I'm saying? And the stories that have been told to me by young people of what goes on in their home, what they're not getting, why they're not getting, and they are the way they are because they're not getting that. Let me tell you something. Children, all right, you know what they want? They want love.
Right.
That's the first and foremost thing. Love.
They want love. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go graphic on you. I'm gonna go raw on you. You see what I'm saying? When your mother and your father, my mother and my father got together on that Pacific night, you know what they both said to each other? They said, I love you. 9 months later, you were born, I was born, we were all born 9 months later, and prematurely, maybe 5 months. But guess what? You cannot birth that child with knowing that child did not ask to come here. But you can't birth that child and not give that child love and expect that child to grow up and be the most astute grown-up in the world. It ain't going to happen because of the fact, it's been done. If you in that, what they call it when you put the babies in the room and you can walk by and see your baby and wave at them, but the baby's laying.
That's like, the incubator room or something like that?
Well, I forgot. It's not the incubator, but where they have all the little babies in there. The nursery. All right? Now, guess what? Guess what? When you're standing at that window looking at your child, that child is sitting there, and that child is doing his little thing, all right? But the biggest thing that child wish, unbeknownst to that child, is that you come over, you pick the child up, or that child has a physical connection with you.
Right. That is so backwards.
Yeah, child.
The way we take the child and separate it from the mom.
Yeah.
At birth.
Yeah, that child is longing for a physical connection. You see what I'm saying? It's one thing to have that child in your stomach for 9 months.
Right.
And you, as the mother, is feeding that child, loving that child, and giving that child everything it needs for that 9-month birth. But once that child is separated from you, that child is eager to have you to touch him or her. Now just imagine that you got a child that is never touched, loved, and that child winds up in a center for adoption. Or that child winds up lacking, what it needs to grow, nutrition. Or that child winds up lacking what it needs, education. Or that child winds up lacking shelter. 9 times out of 10, brother, those children are already written off. They become the havoc of the world because they did not get, because they lack, because nobody gave them the love that they need. You feel me? So 9 times out of 10, our young, and I'm going there, 9 times out of 10, our young black males, our young black females that are not getting that, they wind up on the lower tier of this thing called life. They travel. See, you and I and many of us, we're privileged to be born. Were you born in St. Pete?
Yeah, I was born in St. Pete.
So, okay, watch this. So in the mere young life that you have lived, all right, I'm sure from that hospital to that house you lived in with your parents to when you became an adult and you moved from that house to where you live at now, you have been outside of your neighborhood, and I'm sure you have been outside of your city. You have been outside of the state of Florida. Just imagine those children that come in now that will live their whole life on that one block and never get out of their city, their state, or the world. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Because of the fact that, guess what? They are born with a malnutrition of what life is supposed to be because they're not getting what they're supposed to have gotten from birth. What is that, my brother? L-O-V-E. What is that, my brother? Love. Discipline. Love. What is that, my brother? Nutrition. What is that, my brother? Somebody to sit down and have a talk with. You know what I mean?
And discipline is love. Discipline is love too.
Yeah, watch this. Let me say this real quick.
Okay.
When I'm holding session with children, kids, teenagers, you know what I ask them? How many of you all, by raising your hand, have an adult in your life, in your family that's my age, that you're embarrassed of? When I see all of them raise their hand, and then they carry on small little conversations about themselves, I say, let's talk about it. How does it affect you? What is it doing to help you groom? That you have an adult in your family, in your life, that you're embarrassed of. Why are you embarrassed? Because that adult that's supposed to be guiding you and loving you and caressing you and showing you the path of life, it turns out that you're the one wind up showing them. You see what I'm saying? Because they have given up on life, or they never reached the plateau that they were born to reach. What does that mean? That takes me into the next chapter. All right? Alcohol, drugs. Yeah, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to throw sex in there. Violence. You see what I'm saying? And lack of self-esteem of self knocks that person totally out the game.
Wow.
To see somebody my age, all right, in their 60s, you know, like I had a brother come up to me and they say, Donald Dowridge. This was like a couple of weeks ago. Donald Dowridge. I didn't know who the brother was. And then when he told me where we were at, how he knew me, what we used to do, he's still doing it.
I remember. Yeah. So when they say, man, you changed, and I say, man, I was supposed to. You know
I'm supposed to change for the better.
I'm supposed to change. When they say, you changed, brother, like, yeah, I was supposed to change.
Yeah, you changed for the better.
Right. Let me ask you this, because I want to go into, I got 3 questions I'm going to end off with. I want to ask you my favorite 3 questions. But before I get into that right now, I want to ask you one more deep question. As far as, you know, with the kids of this generation, this age, this day and age, these children, you know, what's the best approach that, you know, I want to say our children, but anyone, any young professional, any college student coming out of college, any high school student getting ready to make decisions for his life or her life, what's the best approach? How can you motivate them in a direction so that they can leave out of here, out of this COVID-19, and not be down about job security or something like that? Send them in a direction that makes them see that they have the quality that it takes to be the best person and the best businessman or woman that they can be to serve their people or their community or whoever they want to serve. So help them in that sense. Before we take off and go into my favorite 3 questions, what do you have for those?
I guess I can answer it like this. There's nothing new under the sun. You see what I'm saying? Everything that's supposed to be done has already been done. The only thing that makes you and I go, wow, when you go to the mall and you see something in the mall, or you might go to an outlet and you see something in the outlet that caught your eyes and whatnot, and then you saying to yourself, it's like, wow, I like that. That's not new. It's just been modified. It's been modified for the times that we live in. You see what I'm saying? Look, it's like a computer. All right? So basically, computers are not new. You know why they're not new? Because back in the days, they used to be them big, tall monsters sitting in the principal's office. So what they did, they modified it so much now through technology that, we can do everything we need to do on a cell phone. All right? So in reference to, what would I say to, that college student? Oh man, God dog, I was going in Publix yesterday and a little girl stopped me and she said, you're a motivational speaker, right? I said, yes. You know what she told me? She said, I remember you. I said, where you remember me from? She said, I don't know. She said, but you're the motivational speaker who mentioned that you were made to eat dog food, right? I said, yep, that's me. She said, Alpo. I said, yep. I said, well, where do you know me from? She said, I don't know. I said, so what are you doing? She said, oh, I'm a student at University of Tampa. All right? I said, what are you studying? What are you studying? She was a sister, right? I said, what are you studying? She says, I'm studying accounting, all right, and marketing. I said, you go, young lady.
That's right.
So, you know what I told her? I said, before I departed her, I told her, I said, look, 1, stay focused on your dreams, all right? There's going to be issues, but you must take your issue and underline it and put on top of it aspiration. You got to be able to stay within your aspirations of reaching your goal of graduating and then taking you to the next step of being an entrepreneur or whatever you intend to do with that degree. Number 2, all right, you got to keep, like I said earlier, grow into some faith. Grow into some faith. You see what I'm saying? I'm far from being a pastor, brother. All right, so don't put me on a pedestal so I can be crucified.
Don't put you up in the pulpit yet, right?
Hey, I ain't trying to be crucified. You feel me? All right.
They won't.
But have faith, all right, and know that there's somebody greater than you. So use your faith to manifest you within seeking your goal. All right. Number 3. All right.
Faith. Okay.
Number 3. Dark corners. All right. Dark corners is not necessarily meaning that you're walking down an alley to get robbed. You see what I'm saying? Dark corners are basically those who do not have your best interests at hand. Those who are standing in front of you to block you from your goals and those aspirations. Be able to what? Build your mountain so that you can climb that mountain. And when you get to that top of the mountain, be able to turn around and bring somebody else up with you. Don't get on the dark alley and think it's all about you. Be able to take your what? Your 180 eye scope to seek out others who might want to be where you are. Because keep in mind, we all going to die one day. And it's a shame if you die and you didn't share your gift. You feel me? Continue to educate you. And as you continue in your education, educate another. Because everything that is poured into you, understand, is not solely for you. It's for you. Right. Like somebody told me, like, you see this towel? You see this towel? I can get up and go to the sink and wet this towel. You feel me? But if I don't wring this towel out, I'm going to have water all over the place. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So what I have to do, I have to wring this towel out. I have to wring it out. So guess what? Get the education. Soak yourself in education, but as you go, wring it out so others can get the lightning of your what? Your knowledge.
Nice. You know something I always say? What you have, I always say, what the universe has for you is for you, and what you have for you is for others.
That's it. That's it.
That's it.
So when I got a young, let me, I'll say this and then we can move on. When I got a young brother that's 33 years old, and back in the days when he was 12, he was part of my group that I had, KDIWD, Kids Doing It Without Drugs, right? So this man is a grown man telling me, he said, Mr. Don, you remember when we were little and you told me X, Y, Z, Z, X? I said, son, I don't even remember that. He said, Mr. Don, don't feel bad because guess what? It wasn't for you to remember, it was for me to what? To remember. You were just a messenger giving it to me to help manifest me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so that's all we are doing. Miles Monroe himself, he said, when you got 4 quarters of life, all right? Your quarters are birth to 25, that's the first quarter. 26 to 50, that's the second quarter. 51 to 75, that's the what? That's the third quarter. And if you make it past that 75 to 100, that's your 4 quarters. All right? The first quarter and what you're doing, that's your learning quarter. The second quarter is your working quarter. The third quarter is the quarter to begin to what? To relax, but not just relax, but to teach. Your fourth quarter is when you're in a relaxed mode because you done teach yourself out and it's about you now.
Right. Nice. That's a good way to end that segment off. I'm gonna ask you 3 questions of mine that I always like to ask guests. 3 favorite questions.
I hope I'm smart enough to answer.
Yeah, man, you got this. You got this. Let me ask you first. Who motivates Dowridge?
Who motivates me? Well, first and foremost, God inspires me. Second of all, you know, through him, there's a seed that's put inside of me. The seed is always being watered. It's being watered by people that I rely on, people that I pick up my phone to talk to. You know, my seed is always watered by the lights of those books that I have. You see what I'm saying? My seed is also watered and sprouted by the lights of learning from people like a Frederick Douglass, learning from a people like a Martin Luther King, learning from a people like Elijah Muhammad, learning from a people like Adam Clayton Powell, learning from a people from, you know, I mean, I got a long list of people, brother. That's so long that I can't remember all of them. But it's just a mere fact. These people that I speak of, that is world famous, if you will, and some of them are no longer here, those are my, when you say grandfathered in, those are my grandfathers. You see what I'm saying? That has helped me to grow to be who I am. And not only them, but there have been many right here in the city of Tampa.
Right, yeah.
The Bob Gilders, the Bob Samuels, the Walter Crawfords,